3 years ago, we went off and bought one pathetic little thornless blackberry plant to show people that you shouldn't do that. Well, one of the fun things about the Backyard Farmer Garden is we show you what you shouldn't do, and then it didn't read the book. And Chester, our thornless blackberry, is proof that we don't always know what we're doing. What we're going to talk about today, however, is what didn't happen in the 3 years after we planted that one tiny little sprout. We didn't prune. We ignored Chester, and Chester did what blackberries do, which is form a bramble patch. So even though we are in one of the two pruning seasons for blackberries, not the early one, we're going to go ahead today and talk about what we should have done earlier. To keep blackberries in control, whether they are the thornless type, the erect type, or the vining or the vase-shaped type, there are two different pruning seasons. One of them is in March when they're dormant, and you prune one of the types of canes in March. The second is to prune kind of now. We're a little bit on the end of the season, but we're still going to be able to do that. Blackberries fruit on flora canes, and they actually produce two different types of canes. The first year canes are called the primo canes. It is all vegetative, and the idea in pruning those when they're dormant is to take them back to about 36 to 48 inches. This encourages lateral branching. The second year, the primo canes become flora canes. They produce flowers, which are absolutely beautiful on blackberries. They're big, they're pink. You see these all over in blackberry bramble patches in the Pacific Northwest or in the mountains, as an example, where they can really be a problem. But then that's where the blackberries are formed. So what you're after is to get those primo canes down and under control, get them to produce the laterals so that the second year, the flora canes produce the flowers and then the fruit. Now, in June to July, what we're also after then is to begin managing the newer primo canes. The ones that if you don't pay attention, they're going to not so slowly gallop across your landscape or through your mulch bed. The canes will tip over, touch the ground, they will root at that location and start forming this giant colony. If these had thorns, I would have on gauntlet gloves, and I would have on steel-toed boots, and I would have big old loppers going like this to show you how to prune them. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take the primo canes back again to that 36 to 48 inches. You take 3 to 4 inches off the tips if they're already at the right height, and that's really all you need to do in this season. Then what you also do after fruiting is complete is you take those the old fruiting canes off entirely. So you see Chester here has produced a huge amount of fruit. It's all low, those are all the flora canes. As soon as all that fruit ripens and we get one or two and the birds get the rest, we're going to go in and we're going to very aggressively take out all those old dead canes. They're going to die anyway. They're also the spot where we get an awful lot of disease and insect pests. So we're going to prune away on Chester and show you how you should manage your blackberries if you don't want a big old bramble patch.